I apologize for this. Can Mr. Arjument help me? Because I don't see
Yes,
it
sir,
on
yes,
the.
sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yeah. Next one is Dr. Yaroslava. Dr. Yaroslava.
Hi,
Okay.
colleagues.
Okay. I'm very sorry
Hi,
for this.
students.
I welcome you and give you a word. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, good, good. Hi, colleagues and students. My lecture
Yes, we can
is
see.
environmental impacts of tourism. Tourism can be defined as a system of balanced tourism which deals with the growth of the development market due to the growing interests in the natural environment. The issue of sustainable development, tourism development is relevant to the agenda of World Meeting on Environmental Protection and Tourism Development in recent years. Excuse me. Tourism is a constant and acute intensive user of natural resources.
Hello, doctor. You please click the slide mode, slideshow mode. Click slideshow.
I probieren.
Yes, correct.
Yes, okay, thanks. Thanks. Tourism is a constant or quite intensive user of natural resources. At the same time, the tourism industry not only makes extensive use of natural resources, but also pollutes the environment. On the other hand, the favorable ecological condition of tourist areas is considered by tourists as a separate tourist resource, which is in steady demand, especially in the period of recovery from the pandemic and the need for recovery in environmentally friendly living conditions. The development of the tourism industry has led to a high concentration of production. Hotel chains appear, the construction of tourist centers begins. Investing significant funds in the development of tourism, large capital requires maximum profit in shortest possible time. The rapid development of tourism is supported in order to ensure economic development and increase the level of currency inflows. Today, anthropogenic impact on ecosystems is characteristic of all sectors of the tourism industry and types of tourism, and is observed in the vast majority of tourism destinations. The World Tourism Organization defines a tourist destination as follows. A destination is a physical space in which a tourist stays for at least 22 hours. According to the Ukrainian scientists, now the destination is a geographical area that has certain boundaries which can attract and meet the needs of a wide range of tourists. Thus, a tourist destination is defined as an economic and geographical category, where the basis of its operation is a territorial resource with possible problems using nature, including environmental. With the growing of the tourism industry, there is different impact on natural landscapes and changes its primary landscapes as a result of the construction of tourism infrastructure. Intensive construction of accommodation facilities, roads, airports, use of land resources as a building materials for housing infrastructure leads to degradation and depletion of landscapes elements. It's a radical change. The problem of traffic jams, insufficient number of parking spaces, a sharp increase in the cost of land have become a reality in such areas. Intensive tourism development absorbs land resources and has led to the loss of agricultural land and natural landscapes. Territories are becoming highly urbanized. The construction of marines, breakwaters, and other structures leads to change in natural landscapes, changes in the direction and strength of currents. Then changes in the coastal and erosions, which leads to the loss of beach areas. Also, the pace of construction of tourist infrastructure in Ukraine is not so high, but the problems of degradation of the Black Sea coast, sampling of sand from beaches, destruction of large forests in the construction of tourist infrastructure in mountains areas of Ukraine are very pressing environmental issues. Thus, the tourist complex Bukovel in Carpathian Mountain in Ukraine, according to the original project, occupies a considerable area, the total area for the construction of cottages and hotels, two-story cottages, 100 hectares, hotels, 50 hectares, infrastructure of cottage, 45 hectares, total area for sky slopes and lifts, approximately 300 hectares. Total area for water reserve intended for snowmaking of 60 hectares of sky slopes. The tourist complex is constantly expanding, now occupying about 822 hectares, which a total length of sky slopes of more than 100 kilometers. Intensive use of water resources and their pollution is also an environmental problem of tourism destinations. Construction of hotel and entertainment complexes often leads to overload of sewer systems. Wastewater treatment plants do not always cope with large volumes of wastewater. In the height of the season, wastewater is sometimes discharged into seas and lakes without treatment, negatively affecting not only flora and fauna, but also quality of the recreation environmental for vacationers. In Ukraine, the problem of pollution of water and land resources from tourist facilities is very acute. Tourist infrastructure, especially on the coasts, is developing chaotically without proper environmental justification. Thus, the tourist complex Bukovel in Ukrainian mountain uses groundwater for domestic and drinking water supply, production and artificial snow leads to the extraction of significant amounts of water from underground horizons. Sewage for small hotels and rural estates remains a problem, as the vast majority of tourist destinations don't have centralized drainage systems. Simple observations of water use in Ivano-Frankivsk region in Carpathian Mountains in Ukraine showed that the average water consumption in rural estates is about 100 liters per day. Uncategorized hotels from 120 to 300 liters per day. In star hotels, more than 300 liters per day, depending on the offer of hotels for health and recreational services. These results fully confirm the VTO data on the water consumption of hospitals. With increase in category and comfort, these figures are growing. Moreover, The indicator of water use by tourists in accommodation establishments are higher than their average consumption by the population of tourist destinations. According to approximate calculation, with an average tourist stay of 4 days, the volume of tourist water use in our region is about 2.4 million cubic meters. Using of energy. Hotels and other tourist infrastructure use of a lot of more electricity than the average local. Thus, according to Yale Energy Service experts, the use of energy per 1 square meter in a non-star hotel is 157 kilowatt hour. In a 4-star hotel, already 380 kilowatt hour. That is, with increase in comfort of the means of placing, energy consumption increases. In many areas of tourism development, the energy system is not designed for such significant energy consumption. Thus, the significant reconstruction of the local energy supply system has been carried out in the area of the Bukovel tourist complex for uninterrupted power supply. The issue, the energy supply in the tourist sector, can be solved through the use of renewable energy sources. Scientists have made such a justification. Air pollution and the problem of solid waste are also environmental problem of tourist destination. The growth of the tourism industry leads to a higher concentration of tourists and the corresponding infrastructure. Excuse me. This leads to air pollution from road, rail, and air transport. For example, 60% of all air traffic in the world is directly related to tourism. So tourism is also responsible for air pollution. Noise pollution from transport and sometimes from tourists themselves is another important problem. On the other hand, air pollution is also a problem for the organizers of tourism activities, because the tourist expects from the rest areas, first of all, clean air and absence of noise discomfort. Sources of air pollution are usually cars. So in the tourist complex Bukovel, in a peak season, arrival of about 900 units of motor transport is fixed daily. Atmospheric air pollution by cars leads to the accumulation of pollutants in soils and their subsequent migration along the food chain. For many tourist destinations, there is a problem of solid waste management of tourism enterprises. The amount of waste is growing faster than the possibility on their disposal. The problem of complicated by the need to transport solid waste over long distances. We have modeled the formation of solid waste within the Ivano-Frankivsk region and justified and need to take into account the increased flows to tourists in the development of roadmap for waste management in tourist destinations. Thus, the environmental impact of tourist destinations increasing with development of the industry, and there is a need to systematize the mechanism of implementing environmental safety within the territories of tourism. We have analyzed and summarized information on the application of various measures and mechanism to ensure the environmental safety of natural and man-made system. The purpose classifies them into regulatory, economic, controlling, and voluntary mechanism for ensuring the environmental safety of tourist destinations. So, the main problem in the development of the concept of sustainable development of tourism is the development and practical implementation of tools to implement the principles of balance in practice. Ensuring the environmental safety of tourism destinations is one of main priorities for sustainable tourism development. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you very much for this clear and not too long presentation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's very nice to also have shorter ones than expected. Maybe we have some more questions or comments from the audience that we can try to answer them right away. Okay, I understand that no. So I will thank you again.
Thank you.
Just,
Thank you.
Just a comment from me, Chair.
Sorry?
Just a comment from me, Chair. Thank you.
Okay.
Myself, Sanjeev Bokori.